Hey there. So I'm actually super excited to share this presentation and training with you on how to decode and read a food label, right? So understanding what we eat at a core level of what we're putting inside of our bodies. I'm super passionate about this. It's going to be pretty short, but it's going to be packed with information. So really like purpose of a food label, right? Provides you information around the nutritional content of the food that you're eating, right? It also includes the ingredients, what actually makes up the food, right? And so if you can learn what you're reading and what you're eating, you're going to be able to make an informed choice. You're going to be able to actually save money and eat much cleaner so you can hit your goals and enjoy the food that you're eating. All right, so the importance of reading food labels, right? It's going to explain the serving size right here at the top. It's going to then talk about the number of calories. It's going to then talk about the different ingredients, nutrients. Always check for added sugars, check for sodium, check for unhealthy fats. We'll get into this in a minute here. So, components of a food label, right? Serving size and servings per container, calories, then it's going to list off your total amount of fat, saturated and trans fat. Trans fat's terrible for you. Saturated fat, not the greatest for you. Total fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrates, protein, sugars. We want to be aware of how much sugar is in here. And then really so that way you know. And then it's going to list off the ingredients. So basically, when it comes to a food label, without reading the slide first, look over here at the calories. This number of calories, and I'll let you guess what this is. This number of calories is 150, right? Per serving, right? 150 calories is made up of the total amount of fat plus the total amount of carbohydrates plus the total amount of protein. So you now probably understand, right? Your three macros are fats, carbs, and protein. Based on how many grams that is how many calories you have. So that's just something to think about. The number of calories from that you're eating comes from the fat, the carbs, and the protein. That is what makes up the number of calories. So how to read it? So you say you go to the store and you pick this up and you're like, I kind of want to buy this. And we'll decide if you want to buy it at the end. But you look at the ingredients, right? First thing is like, how many calories is it? 150. Not bad. It's fine for a snack, right? How many servings are in this container? 9 servings. So if it's a bag of chips, say, or something, and you're looking at it, and there's 9 servings, and the bag's only this big, that's gonna tell you like, okay, I was thinking I'd eat the whole thing in like a serving or two, but there's 9 servings. So you know, if you multiply 9 times 150, right? That's going to be well over 1,000 calories if you ate that whole thing in one sitting. So that's where they can sneak in, like, oh, it's healthy, but it's like, how many servings am I going to take 9 times to eat this? Something to think about. All right. Then it's going to talk all about your calories. It's going to talk about your fats, carbs, and protein. So 7 grams of fat, 18 grams of carbs, and 2 grams of protein. So clearly, this has no protein. It's mostly carbohydrates and also has some fat. Then you look down at the ingredient list. First ingredient is corn. Okay, we know what that is. Second ingredient is vegetable oil. Terrible for you. Corn, canola, or sunflower oil. So it's a mixture of nasty, deodorized, and bleached chemicals. Basically, oil for your car. Then we've got salt. So how much sodium is in here? Where's our sodium? 280 milligrams. And then on the side here, you'll see the percent of daily value. This is how much should I be eating? How much is this of my total daily value, right? So it's not much. Salt, sugar, monosodium glutamate. Do we know what that is? That's called MSG. It is a, it's nasty. It's a neurotoxin. It's added to increase the flavor. It basically makes food addicting. Then we've got fructose, which is sugar, sodium, soy sauce, onion powder. Then we've got this hydrolyzed soy protein. Then we've got extractives of paprika, spices, caramel color, which is known to cause cancer, disodium isonate, dextrose, and of course natural flavors, which are in everything. I'd tell you to avoid them, but it's in everything. So looking at this, is this healthy or not? Probably not healthy. Second ingredient is vegetable oil. It's got nothing in it except for a bunch of additives and corn, right? Do you know what this is? It's Doritos. This is a bag of Doritos. Terrible for you. Ingredients, I wanted to also note the order of ingredients matters. They're listed in the order of weight first. So how much of what you're eating, right? So they're in order of how much is in this, right? So most of this is corn. The second largest ingredient, which trumps everything else on here, is vegetable oil, right? Then you have salt. That's the third like largest ingredient like by weight in here. Then you have sugar, and then you have MSG, and then you have the rest of all of this. Like that's a lot of crap. If sugar, corn syrup, or seed oils are in the top three, that's a red. So that's a red flag, right? So whole food ingredients, things that you should recognize at the top should be first, right? Whole foods. Corn, that's the only great thing here. Everything else is crap. Avoid mystery ingredients like mono and diglycerides, artificial dyes, or natural flavors. You're going to see natural flavors in a lot of stuff. It'd be great if you can avoid it, but for the most part, just getting a look at the label. How many calories? What is the fat, carbs, and protein? And what do the ingredients look like? All right, let's bring in a real life scenario. I did this. I was at the store yesterday looking for some cottage cheese, and I found these two brands, right? And so they're both, if you look, let me move this over here. So look at the calories, right? Basically the same. Fat, pretty much the same. It has a little bit more fat. Um, but like the rest of this is basically the same. Look at protein, 13 grams and 12 grams. So basically the same like number of calories, right? Same makeup. But then look at the ingredients. So the top one, this Daisy cottage cheese, these are the ingredients: cultured skim milk, cream, and salt. That's it. Now look at the ingredients of the other one. So there's no gums, there's no preservatives in this. It's high protein, minimal additives, right? Great choice. Then you look at this other one here, basically the same number of calories. It's got cultured skim milk, then it has whey protein added in, then it has guar gums, monodiglycerides, bean gum, natural flavors, potassium sorbate, and carbon dioxide as a preservative, carrageenan polysorbate enzymes, all this crap, right? It's got cultured milk, cream, modified food starch, and it's got gums and artificial flavors. So these are ultra processed thickeners that like thicken it, right? And then there's also like preservatives, and then obviously the stuff is going to be disruptive to your gut health and your life, right? So if you can't pronounce it, your body probably doesn't like it. So, but these are basically the same exact thing, like in terms of nutrition and protein, right? But look at the difference in ingredients. So all it takes, and this is me at store, I grabbed one, I grabbed the other, I looked at the ingredients, I said, oh, actually, I went in there and I said, I want to get a cottage cheese that doesn't have 1,000 ingredients, is what I said to my fiance. And I pulled out the two, took me a few tries, I looked, I said, perfect, 3 ingredients. I took out the other one, I compared like how much protein, I'm looking at it, wow, way more. Everything else had 1,000 ingredients. I grabbed this and left. And guess what? Same price for these two. Same exact price. So you don't need to spend more money. You just need to be smart looking at the label. So here's a recap. What to remember. Ingredients come first. Real whole foods should be at the top of the list. You shouldn't have sugar and like oils and all that crap. Watch out for the hidden sugars. There's also like, it's not just like sugar. It could be fructose corn syrup. It could be like all these other different things, right? So kind of look out for the hidden ways they hide sugar. Avoid preservatives, dyes, seed oils, artificial flavors. Fewer ingredients is usually better, right? Bonus if you can pronounce them. Compare brands, right? Even simple swaps can make a huge difference, right? Now that I know that brand of cottage cheese, I'm going to get it every time I go, right? There's no difference now. It's the same thing. Literally tastes the same. You don't need to be perfect, right? You just need to be a little bit more aware. So just look at your labels and just start to like read things, right? You don't have to read every single label at the grocery store when you go, but just pick it up, take a look at the ingredients, look at the calories, and then make an informed decision. Every label you read is a vote for your energy, your hormones, and your long-term health. So hope you enjoyed this training. I challenge you to message me one thing that you learned, and then as a bonus, if you can go in your pantry and just look at any item, just pick one thing out of your fridge or out of your pantry and look at the labels and just look at it and then see if you can figure out one thing that maybe wasn't great about it or maybe was good about it. And kind of just get an idea. And I'd love to hear from you one thing that you found. So let me know, and I'll see you in the next training.